Hello, hello, and welcome to my session at Scottish Summit, the virtual part of this brilliant conference. I'm really looking forward to present a Copilot session. And in this case, I would like to clarify what kind of Copilots do we have, and maybe what's interesting for you to understand what are the differences, not in detail, but on a high level, and maybe give an idea about the best way to work with Copilot. So, yeah, I have a very, very loud statement about a pro to use Copilot, but will also explain why we think about and why we should think about which one. But before we start, let me jump into the presentation and talk about our sponsors. Then, even if it's an online event, we still need some online sponsors who can help us with this technical stuff in the back end. So, thank you very much for sponsoring this online possibility to record sessions, stream them, and help us to bring everything together on a good experience for everyone, even if you're starting with an online event. But now, after the sponsors, who am I? Why am I talking to you about Copilot? Well, the first of all, I'm an MVP, a Microsoft MVP for Copilot and Microsoft Teams. I have a couple of different community events. I talk on different events. I talk about usually Microsoft Teams, Copilot, and Viva. I'm also part of the Viva Explorers community, a movement from Microsoft MVPs, regional directors, and some people who like to talk about Viva. And we talk about Viva on the different products in the suite. And my favorite is Viva Goals. One of those is because I am a managing partner, aka CEO of Into Success. And I like to use goals for my colleagues to present our company goals, but also to align the company goals with personal goals and team goals so we can bring everything together. One of those community projects I mentioned earlier is a German podcast, Talk Microsoft 365. Another one is an English, sometimes German podcast about AI itself, where we talk about different models. One of the latest sessions was about Cloud AI Act, the European Cloud AI Act, to be precisely. I'm also running the Munich chapter of the Global AI community, and everything together is available for you with the links also to my LinkedIn profile. On the BioLink link, you can scan with the QR code or follow the link. And if this is not interesting for you, then maybe the information that every session I do, every slides I have of these events will be published and are published on the GitHub repository, which is available via the BioLink as well. So maybe if you're interested, you can have a look into the sessions and maybe see very good repository about what's new in Teams, what's new in Copilot, which is one of these things I do on a regular basis in the community event. But now, enough of myself. Let's dive into the topics. So, well, the first of all is something. Oh, something I forgot. Sorry about that. But it's a small information, a small detail about myself. It's more about to excuse any accents because I'm coming from this small part of the world, like the EU, and I'm coming from a little bit south of Munich. So you may have recognized the German accent already. But now let's jump into the topic. So the first part is I would emphasize the idea behind using Microsoft and AI because we have some things you are not see, you not experience on a very obvious level. That means usually you don't realize that we have something like ethic settings within the AI. So from the general understanding, AI was trained on data available on the internet. That means there was a good part, there was also the bad part. So instead of getting some cooking recipients, you also get an explanation how to build a bomb. And with ethical settings, with ethical adjustments, you can set up your AI, your model to work with the data for the good part, but restrict the access to bad parts. And that's something Microsoft is actually doing for Copilot because Microsoft said we want to use some specific restrictions that doesn't feel like restrictions itself, but will help us to work better together. So on a very, very good way to work together to get some good influences of AI into our society. And therefore, we have some general pillars about AI and the ethic parts of AI. So I just click that through. You can read it on your own. I think it's important to understand that Microsoft helps you to use these ethic settings to ensure you're not able to ask something I'm close to say strange, like build a bomb, how to build a bomb, or how to cook something, how to cook some drugs, or something like that. Um, and therefore, I want to highlight this picture. This is basically everything you have seen before with the different points in a single diagram, in a single picture. So that's a good point. You can and you should think about this picture if you want to think about the influence of AI for our general conversation, behavior, working together, live together, and how to make the best out of AI. And therefore, Microsoft is using this, for example, for Copilot. It's helping us to ensure we have a general high ethical standard over everything Microsoft is doing with AI and specifically in Copilot in this case. So, speaking about AI tools, I would like to highlight three parts. Basically, everything I have heard over the last 2 years, almost it's close to 2 years, was about ChatGPT. And ChatGPT is this huge AI thing everything started with. That's not true. There are some interesting sessions about the history of AI as well. So if you're interested, it already started in the 1940s or 1930s. So it's almost 100 years old. Anyway, the big point for everyone was ChatGPT. So the idea behind that, the moment we realized AI could be something fantastic, was with ChatGPT. And ChatGPT is available for everyone. And that brings us to the category public. ChatGPT is available for everyone. You just have to register and you can just go ahead. With a small limitation. Whenever you start to work with ChatGPT like this, you have an issue, a kind of issue. Your data will be used to make ChatGPT better, to train the model. So if you start to use ChatGPT on a free account basis, then you can use ChatGPT, but they use the data. So you pay with your data. And you don't want to use your data as a currency if you are a company with some intellectual property. That's a reason why there's, for example, a paid version of ChatGPT or Copilot. There are other AI technologies as well, also from Microsoft, like the AI Builder, the AI Studio, or something like that. But today I would like to talk about Copilot. And I separated that public and private. And here we go. That's a good understanding, right? And I talked about the third one. The third is actually also private and public. It's Copilot again. Copilot with Bing. I have no idea what the official name is right now. They changed it from Chat Enterprise something to Copilot in Edge. It's basically this strange Copilot integration in Edge directly. That means every browser, every Edge instance you have has a Copilot in it. And that's the reason why it's private and public. For example, if you use Edge for your personal browsing on your personal device, maybe with a personal outlook.com, live.de.com, whatever address, you can have Copilot and use it. I will show something which is really good and why you should use this Copilot. But in general, this is something, how can I say this? It's there, but you pay with your data. It's free, but you pay with your data. If you have some personal things like asking for some recommendations for the next holiday trip or something like that, that's not an issue, right? You just have a conversation with AI and there are no interesting data you want to hide explicitly. If you're a company, that's another story. It's still there. You are maybe signed in with your Copilot within your Edge, and you have Copilot. And then it depends on your license. That's something we will take a look into. But for the license perspective, if you have E3, E5 license, take a look into their licenses and enable Copilot in browser. There's just a switch, and you get a protected mode where it's coming to a private AI instance. And then we have Copilot. Which Copilot, you say? Well, we do have something like, I would say, more than 100 Copilots right now within Microsoft. And that's just a kind of official number we have got from Microsoft to visualize this is not a single Copilot. Because a single Copilot, whenever Microsoft talks about Copilot, is we are focusing on one Copilot in a specific context. For example, Copilot in Windows, Copilot in Viva, Copilot for sales in CRM in Dynamics 365. We use Copilot for Microsoft 365 within Teams, within Word. And even if you think you have a single Copilot like the 30 euros, dollars, pounds, I think it's in another value in pounds. Anyway, you get Copilot for M365 with a monthly fee. It's still not a single Copilot. Well, in some cases. And I tried to explain this during this session. So we have a look into this. But think about this. Whenever we talk about Copilot, and whenever Microsoft talks about Copilot, whenever the internet is talking about Copilot, ask yourself which Copilot was the context for. So we have some interesting approaches to visualize this. We have that beautiful chart. We have also this beautiful chart. And we also got this beautiful chart. And there you see there are some different aspects. This is from Dynamics, from Windows, Word, Excel, PowerPoint, GitHub, security, Power Platform, and so on and so on. There are a ton of different Copilots. I will talk about those. So now let's jump into the Copilot story. I would like to start with the demo part. So I have to rearrange my presentation. Just give me a second. And here we go. So where should we start? That's a tricky question because Copilot is everywhere. And as I said, more than 100 Copilots are available right now. I would like to start with the Copilot in Edge because this is the quick win. This is the best way to get your Copilot experience quick and easy into your organization. And even if you think Copilot in Edge, I don't care. It's not good anyways. Oh, that's wrong. It is. So go for it. Give it a try and use it. Within our company, we also do some user adoption topics. Like if you have a customer coming with the question how to use Teams, we help them to bring this into the organization. And we got the revolution with Copilot, or even with AI, I would say. Until AI, we begged for some hours in a project to use user adoption, to bring some explanation about the topic we want to integrate and roll out to everyone to impact the work on a daily basis the most, like Teams, like working online in Office 365 or something like that. And the first point which was removed if we had a discussion about we need more money in the project was user adoption. Thank you. Thank you. Thank you. It was removed every time. But in AI and for AI, that's different. The first time we got the situation where the C-level is asking about how can we use it. Please help us to integrate AI. Please help us to use user adoption to explain what's about AI. And you can start, of course, with different things like creating a bot, creating the new Copilot on your data, but maybe start with that one. It's there. Usually you have a kind of license like E5, E3, and you can use those licenses to bring AI to 100% of all licensed users. Think about it. That's a story you can do in your company. It's a story you can use for internal marketing. You can use it to explain everyone. Here we go, friends. AI for everyone. That's the first story. The next part is, I would like to highlight something you may not aware of. Let's start with write me an email about Copilot to present this topic to a CIO of a large tech company. I can ask this Copilot to do something for me. Something like create me a draft for an email. That's a good one. Because every story you hear about AI is to overcome the writing hesitation or the writing limitations you may have if you start to write something new. And within just a short sentence, you got a 80% solution to start an email. Just right off your fingertips. And that's not too bad. It's not perfect, as always. Please always review this. Please double check, makes it more sound like you or change some words or whatever. But it's a start. It's a starting point. That's the first part. And that could be something obvious where you think, that's a lame one. I can do this with multiple products as well. Of course you can. Once again, it's in your license. Another option is create me a picture of Scotland and a conference about Microsoft in the I'm not sure if it's working like that. It's starting at least. You can create something like pictures. Yes, you can create pictures. I'm not sure if it's how good it is. Let's have a look. Kind of. Kind of. I think you can start with something like that. Just right out of your browser. You don't need any additional thing like explicit description about Microsoft Designer or even ChatGPT license with DALL-E because Microsoft has a close engagement with OpenAI. They use DALL-E 3 already. So this is, once again, default, integrated, protected in your browser. This everything you want to use. I want to highlight this one. This small icon is a visual indicator for it's protected. And I would like to highlight that one as well. You can use it in a protected mode, not used for any trained data or to train data. You can use and add files, pictures, something like that, to have a context response. So it's not only talking about something you start from scratch. It's maybe something, give me some insights about this document. And then you get I don't know, level design, high level design of an architecture or some proposals you may got from con, from a constructor, something like that. You can use it. You can use it with just more than just chatting. And it's, once again, available for every licensed user with their specific license. So take a look into this. But I would also like to talk about the Microsoft 365 Copilot. And this is I wouldn't say another story, The first of all is we have to understand the security fundamentals about Copilot, Microsoft 365 Copilot. So what the Copilot, sorry, the Microsoft 365 Copilot does is they use the data you have access to, not on your tenant itself, but access to. And there's a graphic that there's a layer, Microsoft Graph is the name of this layer, who controls access based on permissions you have. So whenever I start a query to Microsoft 365 Copilot and I ask for some detailed information about a specific topic, I just got the answer based on the permissions I have. If my boss or a colleague is asking for the same data, they may get another result because they have access to other data. But they will never have access to my data. And the Microsoft 365 Copilot is working with OneDrive, SharePoint, Teams, and email today. But actually, that's everything we have on the first place. That sounds good, right? It should be enough. Actually, yeah, it's a good way to work with because your personal data is in OneDrive, your team data is in Teams or SharePoint, which is the same. Just to clarify that, you have conversations via email and Teams, and you have meetings within Teams. So that sounds brilliant, right? So the interesting part is I just throw money to Microsoft, and Copilot is giving me all the information I would like to have on a single place to use it for all my work, right? Wrong. Yes, there's a Copilot, Microsoft 365 Copilot. And I know it's annoying to use a long form of Microsoft 365 Copilot or M365 Copilot, but it's necessary because let's start with something interesting. For example, I would like to start with a Word document. You may have seen all the success stories, like use Copilot to overcome some limitations, some issues with just give me a second, to overcome some limitations with Copilot with your writings. Um, oh, and I just realized it looks like I don't have the right license available in this demo tenant anymore. Oh my gosh. Just give me a second. I have to change the presentation. Sorry about that. So um, all right. Just signing in into another tenant and giving some more details. I just have to prepare this to avoid any data breach and issues with security, privacy, and something like that. Just give me a second. And last but not least, Teams. Yeah, I think that should be okay. And I'm not sure about the Teams presentation, but we will talk about this. So, where was I? Word. Window, document, share that one. It's like always if you have demo gods or a license disappearing. Wrong date for the recording. Anyways, coming back to Word. So the first idea about Microsoft 365 Copilot is, as I said, I have a Copilot for everything, right? And I would like to highlight Word. If you have seen the stories behind that, you can start from scratch. Just use Copilot to write something and you get some beautiful documents. In this case, write me a document about the usage of AI and the positive impact for mankind. So, yes, now I gotta get a beautiful document. Everything is running smoothly. So, yes, it's absolutely what I got promised from Microsoft. Yes, I love this document. It's brilliant. It's 4 pages long, 1,000 words. Excellent. But it's still data of the internet. It's not coming from any internal data. And maybe you have seen that. There was the chance to add some documents. But it's not about I type something here and start with internal information like my co-founder write me about the usage of AI from Patrick. It's not working with the data coming from, yeah, just go ahead. Talking about my colleague, it's not referencing to any part of the company. It's not referencing to anything like his last name, into success, the company name, or whatever. It's just picking up Patrick's perspective and assume about the coming from the trained data, how to work with AI, and what are the thoughts about the usage of AI from Patrick. That's a difference, right? Right. It's not working with everything you may expect. And then there's a Copilot button. And you may have seen the advertising of Microsoft about this one. You can use Copilot to understand documents, summarize points, to do something fancy, real interesting stuff in Word, Excel, PowerPoint. Yes, but it's limited to the product. So, for example, I cannot start with get me some international details from the last 20 documents I worked with. It's just about the document right now, the existing document I'm currently in. So, not about everything else. And that's the first point I would like to highlight here. You have to work with the data and the capabilities of the Copilot you currently have. It's the same for Excel. So let me try to do something like create a Excel file with example data to show Copilot. I'm not sure if it's working like that, because it's trying to, yes, put that here. So I can use it within the boundaries of Excel. I can use it in Excel. Copilot was really, really bad at the beginning. It's better now. But in the Excel Copilot, you can work with the data. For example, show data insights. I can get some interesting visualizations. I can get something like a, yeah, okay, I would like to add it to a grid. Just go ahead to get some beautiful visualizations. That's good. I can start to use it and create pivot charts right out of just a click. But it's still limited to the capabilities of Excel. And it makes sense. Don't get me wrong. It's actually better to have this way, because what you are looking for is a specialist working with your data. If you take a look into Excel, for example, you don't want to create some, or you don't want to write a book in Excel. You want to have an expert who can help you with some specific questions about the data you have, or you create some formulas, or to work with the data in this Excel sheet. You don't want to have an AI to work with your Excel to create some visualizations like pictures. It's which you can use for PowerPoint, like a scissor and something like that. It's about the data you want to analyze. It's about the data you have in an Excel file. You usually don't start to document your project with everything like a protocol in detail within Excel. I got the mistake, right? Don't judge me. There are some projects and there are some project documentation parts where you use Excel for such kinds. I just want to highlight you are looking for a specific specialist. You are looking for someone who can help you with a specific use case in a specific product. And here we go. We have something in Outlook, we have something in Excel, we have something in Word, we have something in PowerPoint to create you a presentation based on the document, for example. If you have a long story about a project where you want to have, where you have a document highlighting the different project phases, for example, you want to use it as a resource to create a PowerPoint presentation. You can do it. You have a specialist for this. On the other hand, you cannot use any data like a picture itself to put it on Excel, on PowerPoint, to have it as a source to create a PowerPoint out of a single picture, for example. And this is the main understanding you should have for M365 Copilot. You have not only Word, Excel, PowerPoint Copilot, you have also the OneNote Copilot. You have a Flow Copilot. No, that's not the right one. You have a Copilot for Loop. You have a Copilot for Whiteboard. And there are so many different small things like forms where you have a Copilot which can help you and have a specific feature set of features. So this is useful because you have a specialist helping you with a product. And then you still have the M365 Copilot. Think about the different pictures, diagrams I had, about 100 Copilots. Word is one. Excel, PowerPoint, Forms, Whiteboard, OneNote. Each of them is a specific Copilot. But the M365 Copilot is another one. And that's not this one, which is actually pretty much the same as I have this one here. It's about this one. So I can use, unfortunately, now it's in German because I changed the browser. Anyway, I tried to explain it. This is the Copilot for M365, the M365 Copilot. This Copilot is able to work with all the data from OneDrive, Outlook, Teams, and email, and getting everything together in a single conversation, in a single overview. I just don't want to put some customer data here in this, so I have to limit the presentation in this case. I just want to highlight this Copilot is the central part to ask about, what's coming to everything together. And this Copilot is able to work with your Outlook data, Teams data, chat, group chats, team chat, like the chat in Teams, but also the data you're working with. You can get something like what's new coming from one of your colleagues because you have had an absence for a couple of days. And this is coming into everything you're looking for. You find a lot of demos about this. So that's quite easy to see. The point I would like to highlight is this is actually the same Copilot you get within Teams. So if you start Teams, just go ahead here and Copilot. There you go. It's the same. Let's Copilot. M365 Copilot to be precisely. And that one, I can ask for what's new coming from Torsten. Torsten is one of my community colleagues. That should be fine about data leaks and something like that. Yeah. Okay. I can see emails. I can see about the meetup from last week, Teams user group meetup. I can see some highlights in the chat and also within PowerPoint presentation or documents we are working together. So this is collecting everything together in a single view. But it's still another Copilot. And there's another Copilot within Teams. This Copilot can help you with something like recap for meetings. Once again, I don't have something like that for the moment. Just give me a second. So you see that one? Yeah, right. Let me search for a non-critical event. I may have something like a demo. While I'm looking for this, in the meantime, This is the main benefit I've seen about Teams and Copilot. The Copilot in Teams creates a recap, a meeting recap. That means whenever I have a meeting and it's recorded or the transcript is created, it's pretty much the same. If you have a recording, there's a transcript, but you can start with a transcript only. Um, sorry. If you have something like this, um, this is the fundamental part to get a recap, and this recap can help you to work with, yeah, what happened during the meeting. You get some follow-up tasks, you can see the regular tasks, what's coming up, who is responsible for the next part, and you get more details in this recap, even if you are not part of the meeting. If you are not in the meeting, you get some highlights, and that can help you to work with your data, to work within meetings. If you have multiple meetings during the same time, that's pretty much something you can use to come into some topics pretty easy, pretty fast. That's really helpful. That's the main benefit, but it's not coming from the M365 Copilot. Actually, this is a part of the feature of the Teams premium license. The Teams premium license has the meeting recap. It's called Intelligent Meeting Recap. And this Intelligent Meeting Recap is actually the recap we also use, or we also get from the M365 Copilot. So why I'm not able to find any non-critical data, I just want to start with an idea. It's not coming from myself. I just heard it from someone in the community. I don't remember the name. I'm sorry for that. Who said you can start with a Copilot Lite, with an M365 Copilot Lite. And if you start to use Copilot in Edge combined with the Teams premium license, because the biggest benefit also for the most of the users is the meeting recap. You don't have to take any notes anymore. You just get a recap. If you have been out of office for some days, weeks, you just look at the recap and you get everything you need. There it is. You get it with Teams Premium together with a couple of other features. There's a specific, actually, session about this from other events. So yeah, there are a lot of different features within the Teams Premium license, not only meeting recap. And it costs a third of M365 Copilot. Plus this free E3, E5 license integrated Copilot within Edge that can help you to start with your M365 usage and AI integration, and so you can use it to bring everything together and have it cheaper, or maybe as an additional option for 80% of the users, a couple of users who are not the heavy worker with documents, PowerPoints, and something like that, because their use saves some money. As I said, just a third. So you can start with a cheaper option. You can enable M365 for the heavy users, for C-level, for whatever. Management level, for example, who works a lot of with a lot of documents, with a lot of PowerPoint presentation, Excel files to improve the daily work for those users. And then you can use Premium, Teams Premium, together with the Edge browser to ensure you are still able to provide AI features to all the other users. and get the most requested feature like the recap for the users. So that's actually also my conclusion. I just was too fast with telling you the summary of all the stuff you may have. Thought about the summary actually of this session is, if you have the option, you should think about what's the use case. Think about the best option you can work with. You should work with M365 Copilot. Copilot was Bing or within Edge, whatever the name is right now. And you can start with your data, but make your decision. You can work with it and get the most out of the different features, but start with AI and on a secure way. And that's it. Thank you very much for your time. Thank you very much, and have fun with the virtual event, but also enjoy Scottish Summit. I'm looking forward to see you in person on the next event. Bye.